Welcome, everyone, to our SCIEX Biopharma Vodcast. I'm Roxy.
And I'm Kristen. And in this series, we're going to be uncovering how scientists are rewriting the rules of biopharma.
In today's episode, we're talking about the challenges faced early in the development pipeline. Our guest today is Kristen Nields from Janssen. Thanks for joining us, Kristen.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we're very grateful to have you. Now, before we get started, can you tell us where in the world are you today?
I am located in the beautiful city of Springhouse in Pennsylvania, about 15 minutes outside of Philadelphia.
That's great. And Kristen, what would you be doing right now if you weren't on our podcast?
I would be sitting in a meeting reviewing data.
So that sounds like the podcast is the better idea.
Yes, it does.
Kristen, to get to know you a little bit better, we would like to ask you some rapid fire questions, and we would like you to answer them with the first thought that comes to your head. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
If you were shrunk down to the size of a molecule, what would you be?
Adrenaline.
Mass spec or CE, Kristen?
That's a tough one. Mass spec.
Kristen, for those who don't know, can you summarize what you do at Janssen?
So I sit in cell engineering and analytical sciences department, and our task is to take a molecule that went through discovery and has some proof of concept and make that into a stable cell line with the best clonality and product quality to pass to product development for purification of a clinical material.
So what challenges do you face, Kristen, early in development?
The biggest challenge that we face is we have a lot of different flavors of molecules hitting us at one time, and we have a pretty quick turnaround time to then go to something we call cell line selection committee meeting. So we'll get a molecule, we will do our transfection into a stable cell line, which takes several weeks. But then there's a lot of unknowns that come into play. So trying to characterize every little bit and piece of post-translational modifications or sequence variants, or what are the different charge species, that becomes taxing sometimes, but it also allows us to use other tools to investigate, which is also nice.
That sounds like you have to be creative from time to time to meet those very tight deadlines. Are there any examples you can share for which you have rewritten the rules?
So most recently, we have used the 𝗥𝗲𝗄𝗏 workflow to identify a sequence variant, an actual genetic mutation in one of our clones as a basic charge isoform. And to date, that's the first time. This is the first time a sequence variant has been identified by CIFMS. So right now, we're kind of rewriting how we're going into cell line selection now and how we're going to approach this, because sequence variants are a big part of our package. When we deliver a cell line, we have to make sure that there's no genetic mutations in any of the clones that we pass through for clinical development.
Yeah, absolutely. And that kind of really leads into the next question that we had, is that what impact does this new workflow have for your colleagues downstream or on the product downstream?
We are learning right now how critical it's become to identify those isoforms, because something like a genetic mutation, regulatory standards are zero, nothing above zero. So now we're going to start implementing this for all of the molecules that come within our group, and all the clones will be screened this way now. Even though this was like a 1 in 1,000 chance of us finding something like this, it did find it. So, and then finding other little things about what is under the acidic and the basic isoforms becomes very critical, especially on the acidic side. to our downstream colleagues, because then they can find ways to optimize their bioreactor conditions to reduce some of those acidic isoforms.
How much of a challenge is that to either change the current protocol or to change people's idea of how things should be done on the analytical side?
So you can have a great idea, but if you don't have the data to support it, then nobody's going to take that change. I think with this, now we've collected data across several molecules now that it showed how impactful the data is and how it can, hold a lot of really robust characterization tools for the process and for our filings and setting specifications. So I think it's easier to make that change when you show how good the data is. And we've been consistently showing good, robust data to senior leadership. So that change is a lot easier.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you so much for joining us today, Kristen, and sharing your insights. It's been really valuable speaking with you.
Thank you.
And also thanks to our viewers for listening in today. Make sure to check out SCIEX.com to learn more, and make sure to tune in to our next episode. And until then, keep rewriting the rules of science. Thanks.
Goodbye.